Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ebbenflow podcast, episode 21. My name is Ben, and I'm coming at you live from Los Angeles, California, in my little Airbnb here. I just spent the last month in San Francisco, and I had an incredible time. Overwhelmingly positive experience, and I will have to make a separate episode on it because it was a very, very impactful time in my life. But we're not talking about San Francisco today. Today, we're talking about something that's been on my mind for a while and that I did an episode on earlier, um, where I talk about like getting distracted and stuff, but it's about the New World Order. Um, and like the globalist agenda, because to bring it back a few episodes, I forget which one exactly, but it was mind control. um I talked about, it was shortly after the Trump assassination attempt, and as soon as that happened, I tuned into Alex Jones like immediately, because something in me was saying like Alex probably has an interesting take on this, because he's had a lot of interesting takes on previous events. And maybe I should preface this as well and say that I don't know fucking shit. Like I don't know anything, okay? I'm just interested in what's going on, and I'm going to relay to you information that I've come across, um, and have my thoughts about it. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, that's fine. Maybe do your own research, come to your own conclusions. But I'm just going to share what I think about this. So, yep, I was at my friend's party when someone mentioned, there was shots fired at the Trump rally, and Trump was there. So my mind, based on the headline that they read, my mind was like, "Oh shit, there was a shooting near the Trump rally." Um, and then as soon as later that night, I went to Twitter and I tuned into Alex Jones, and then immediately he was saying that it was assassination attempt. And there were headlines from other mainstream media saying that it was it was like Trump fell down, or there was just shots, there was like loud noises at his rally. So some media outlets are saying that, are trying to like cover it up, trying to not maybe panic people that there was an assassination attempt, but um, just try to not make it seems like they're not making a big deal out of it, when like it's a big deal. It's the former president of the United States. Like, someone's trying to kill him. I feel like that's not a usual thing to occur. And the second I tuned into Alex's live stream on Twitter, he was saying that he saw this coming. He's seen a lot of things coming. He predicted 9/11. You can literally watch a video of him in June or July, the summer of 2001, saying that there's probably going to be airlines crashing into the World Trade Center, and they're going to blame that on Osama bin Laden because he's like a boogeyman. And who's they? They are the globalists, the people supporting this New World Order. And when I think of New World Order and like entities supporting that, I think of BlackRock, um, all the most Democrats, um, and like Rockefeller, and I can't think of all of them off the top of my head. Maybe as the podcast goes on, they'll come to me. But it's basically like, oh, the CIA. That's another entity. Um, where was I here? Oh, the New World Order. Well, what is the New World Order exactly? Based on what I've read and consumed, that the New World Order is basically, it's a change in how we live. So back in the old days, there used to be like the family, the familial unit, like the mom, dad, all the kids. They would tend to be self-sustainable, like living on a farm, or and they would be in a community where other families would be perhaps raising different types of food and cattle, and then other families would be raising vegetables, and they would trade back and forth with each other. Um, and that's how you would survive. And then um, once like the Industrial Revolution started, then it kind of basically began this consolidation of power, where you have the owners of huge companies going on these huge endeavors, like the railroads, for example, in the United States, and just making shit tons of money off of these enormous projects. And so money is associated with power in this life, because the more money you have, the more influence you have over uh, reality. And so a small amount of people, comparatively to the world population, were getting an insane amount of money, and mostly everyone else wasn't getting that much money. Um, and so this consolidation of power, um, humans will be humans, and they will attach to an identity, and they will separate themselves from other fellow humans and the world. And this kind of gives them this like power trip, or like wanting to be an idea of God where you have complete control over reality. Um, and everyone is God, but not God in the idea of God, the God that stems from thought. Everyone is reality. Everyone is just this moment, which is God. But so yeah, a lot once this power was consolidated, everyone in this small group wanted to change the world. They want everybody but themselves to, I think this is a quote by Klaus Schwab, which is the CEO, former CEO, I believe, of the World Economic Forum, the WEF. And the World Economic Forum is basically a bunch of rich people in the world that get together and talk about how they can manipulate reality. So this quote from Klaus Schwab is, for the general population, that you will own nothing and you'll be happy. Basically saying that we can't have anything. And I realize with my jargon that I am separating the general population with this small group of elites. But like I just said earlier, like we're all the same thing. It's just that some variations of existence are more confused than others, and this is just the expression of that confusion. So, what are things that the New World Order wants to do? They want the general population to have nothing. They want a mix of like human and animals, like the transhuman movement. They want to like destroy the familial unit, and this was manifested in one way. If you look up Gloria Steinem on the internet, Google Gloria Steinem CIA, and one of the first results should be a document from CIA.gov stating that they funded Gloria Steinem. Who is Gloria Steinem? Gloria was or is, I don't know if she's still alive, a feminist leader. So one way to destabilize the familial unit is to instill a sense of power within women, in the sense that these women can be completely independent, like pretty much instilling girl boss energy into the general population of females. Basically saying that, I don't need no man type shit. And that, I believe, has undermined the the role of women in society that has been for a while, where they are like the caretakers of the home, where like the man makes the money and then the women take care of the kids at home. That structure is just being slowly degraded. Another way to destroy the family is to make men gay. Is to like turn people gay. Like, I feel like there's a lot more LGBTQ members today than there were 50 or 100 years ago. And a possible reason for that, the one that Alex Jones tends to reference a lot is tap water. Fluoride and atrazine are chemicals in tap water. And I believe there were experiments done at certain universities, I think maybe like UC Berkeley, that they gave a colony of frogs tap water for like a good amount of time, and eventually tap water with atrazine and fluoride changed the sexual orientation of the male frogs, so that the male frogs would want to mate with other male frogs. So in that way, the frog familial unit is being undermined. Also, the frog population is decreasing. So I guess another part of the New World Order is a global depopulation, is that they want to get the global population down to a certain amount so that it could be more easily controlled. So turning people gay is one of those ways. Another way is to start World War III and begin a global thermonuclear war. That would obviously wipe out a large percentage of the population. And they have all sorts of plans to want to start World War III. So I believe that Democrats generally support the war in Ukraine, which they're giving aid to Ukraine a lot of money. You see, it's actually funny. I was in San Francisco last month, and I was going past the city hall, and it was lit up in Ukraine colors, blue and yellow. And literally, like, a couple neighborhoods across is this neighborhood called Tenderloin, where it's basically like Kensington, if you're from Philly. Homeless, mentally ill people roaming the streets, shooting up, and just not having a good quality of life. And then literally blocks away is like this government building that they're sending insane amounts of money to a foreign country to want to like fuel a war. That's kind of fucking fucked up that I'm saying it out loud. I don't think I've said that out loud before, but doesn't that just seem like messed up? Like, I And then like I'm in LA now and I see people with like Palestine, Israel messages like supporting either country or whatever. And it's like there's there's homeless people that are really struggling like a few neighborhoods away from you. But you're focused on like a foreign country. And it just makes me think back to like more ancestral times, like 100 years ago. Were people in LA really concerned with what was going on in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, or were they more concerned with what's going on like right there in their neighborhood? Um, that's one of the side effects of having like the internet and like this one world government really is like you maybe you'd want to distract people in like first world countries like the US into being so caught up in the stories of what's happening in the Middle East that they forget that their neighbors and their fellow citizens are suffering. Um, Also, while this is happening, there's like a border crisis where there's like a lot of like illegal immigrants coming into our country, and they're getting aid from Democrats. And um, I believe there was like a few interviews with the illegal immigrants, and I don't know if they can vote or whatever, but they were asked, "Who are you voting for?" And they all said Kamala. Um, so so basically, people are getting distracted by events happening across the world. Meanwhile, people are dying and sick right next to them. Meanwhile, people from other countries are coming into this country, and like they're getting a lot of help. I mean, which is like that's like a good thing to help like people coming across. I feel like if you're but should you focus more on the people that are there already as opposed to the people that are coming across the border? Like how do you manage that? Like this is where okay, part of me just wanted to say that I have like a neutral stance on all this, and part of me does, but I guess the part of me that likes identity um, tends to lean a little bit more to the right of conservatively because I mean I don't know. I feel like I like the olden times, I guess, like with how my diet's been changing, like I don't really fuck with seed oils or getting being inside in an office all day. Like I just like to be outside, kind of just doing my thing, getting sunlight, exercise, building meaningful things in my life. And I just feel like some of those behaviors tend to lean more towards conservatism or something. Um, but overall, that's just the part of me that wants to attach to identity. Overall, I'm not what I think I am, so I'm just here, and this is just me expressing myself, like doing the best I can in this podcast platform. Um, so okay, let's go back to like the assassination attempts. So when that was happening, and Alex Jones was saying, okay, they tried it. That means the New World Order, the globalists are like desperate, because Trump wants to end like the conflict in the middle in Ukraine. Like Trump doesn't want wars. He's just like this guy who likes to play golf and like build casinos. And like it just feels like the Democrats are, um, following a script that they were given, like by the globalists, the deep state, whatever. So Trump was saying, okay, they tried this. Now they're probably going to try to poison Trump. They're going to try to truck bomb him in his home in Mar-a-Lago, or they will just try to kill him again in some way or another. Like, there's a lot of shit that's going to happen between now and the election in November. Lo and behold, a few weeks ago, there was another assassination attempt at Trump at his golf course, and that assassin, it's funny. The first assailant, was in a BlackRock commercial, and the second one was also in a BlackRock commercial. And the second assailant was an American in Ukraine that was recruiting Americans to, or not American, but everybody, to come to Ukraine and fight the Russians. So this is someone who wants war to happen, and then Trump is someone who doesn't want war to happen. So this guy probably got help from another organization to kill Trump, because this globalist agenda and the New World Order is so desperate. And another thing that is really recent is the Hurricane Helene in North Carolina and Georgia or whatever. And basically, what I've been reading is that the government, or higher powers, higher, quote unquote, can control the weather. They can control hurricanes. They can create hurricanes, destroy them, change their direction, steer them through ionizing the atmosphere. And if you want to know more about that, look up Operation Cirrus, which is Operation CIRRUS, and Operation Storm Fury, which are like publicly disclosed projects from the government that they could control storms. So Hurricane Helene devastated a town in North Carolina. I believe it was like Cherryville or something. Just wiped out the town pretty much. And then you read that with the event of AI, the upcoming of AI and just computers and technology, there is a need for lithium, for like lithium ion batteries. And actually one of the like largest lithium deposits in maybe the world is under that town in North Carolina. So I think it's called Piedmont Lithium, or Piedmont Mining is a mining company that wanted to start a mine on that town, but the residents were like, fuck no, you can't build on our shit. Like, this is our town. What the fuck? How convenient is it that that town is now wiped out? And probably after the flooding clears and the debris clear, someone's probably going to sweep in and start a lithium mine there. So we'll have to follow that story. Another impact of the hurricane was the rural areas of Georgia and North Carolina were really wiped out, and that's probably like there's articles saying that it's going to affect voting, and people who live in rural communities tend to be Republican. So could this all be a plot to like affect the election, so that Kamala wins and the globalists can continue their agenda on undermining the family, depopulating the globe, possibly continuing with World War III and global thermonuclear war, and again, people who don't have that power to own nothing. Um, there is a great short film on YouTube called Beyond the Reset, where it kind of depicts what life could be like if this global agenda continues. Is that you won't be able to do anything pretty much. You'll just be sitting in your little box, probably doing forced labor, and that's it. That's your life. Um, so I'm wondering, why do I tend to lean conservative when I'm talking about this stuff? Um, because I feel like people on the right like to be free, um, in the sense that they can say whatever they want without restriction, and they just want to eat saturated fats like butter, tallow, and um, raw milk, and just kind of vibe out in nature. And I'm not saying that like liberals don't want that too. I'm sure they do, but liberals and like these are all crazy generalizations as well. So please take everything with a grain of salt. That like the wokeness or whatever, like the blue hair baristas, um, they just seem to be confused about what life used to be, and they don't know exactly why they're like so supportive of like the democratic agenda, but they just like are so into it, and it's interesting. I'm just thinking about like Democrats right now and like how they all just seem like they're reading a script and they don't really have a soul. Um, so this is going to be a controversial episode, um, but it's just kind of where I wanted to express how I was feeling about this stuff, because I've been reading into it. I've been watching Alex Jones almost every day since that Trump assassination in July. Um, because it's interesting, you know? It's like part of reality is confused as to what they are identity wise, and then there's other parts of reality that are not confused. The parts that are not confused are the ones that realize that everything's perfect all the time. Everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. And maybe you find what I'm saying to be divisive, and some of it probably is, but it's just the way that I have to express this thing that's going on. Um, but I mean, just I also wonder like what it would be like if everyone recognized that we were all one. That'd be a pretty cool world to live in. But again, you if you realize that you are the only consciousness that has ever existed and will ever exist, then that's all there is. Because you can try to tell others, you can try to spread the word, but there is no control. You're only gonna bump up against reality if you try to spread that message. So, is it coming from a place of need as well? Like, do people need to know that they're everything, that we're all God, or is that you reaching back into identity, in order to save some concept that you've created in your mind? There is no concept. There is just now. So, yeah, gonna wrap it up here, but I hope you enjoyed listening. And if you want to know more about this stuff, like talk to me, follow me on. I never do this. I never do these announcements. Like follow me on Instagram. It's Ebbenflow_. Follow me on Twitter. It's at beneficial to you. Follow me on TikTok. It's at BRBizo with 2 I's, I believe. Just look up my name, Ben Arbizo. And if you want to start solo traveling by yourself, but you feel like you're held back, check out my website, ebbenflow.com. Go to the solo travel coaching page and look at my offers. If you don't feel like paying, reach out to me on Instagram, um, and I'll have a little conversation with you. You know, that's totally fine. I'm just trying to get my business going, and I'd like to be self sufficient one day. So I'm working towards that in my own life, this podcast is one way to work towards it. So thank you again, and I'll see you on the next one.